Okay, let's unpack this. When you think of hip-hop, what immediately springs to mind? Perhaps the bustling streets of the Bronx, maybe, or, those dazzling global superstars filling stadiums, dominating the charts. But what about the Himalayas? The serene, towering peaks. Today, we're taking a really fascinating dive into something pretty remarkable, the vibrant, evolving world of Nepalese hip-hop, affectionately known as Nephop. And for this deep dive, we've pulled from, well, a really rich stack of sources, everything from candid YouTube discussions, bustling Reddit forums where, fans and artists share raw opinions, all the way to in-depth news articles giving journalistic takes, and even like rigorous academic research dissecting the cultural impact. Our mission today is to really understand the intricate journey of how this global genre found its unique, its truly authentic voice in Nepal. We'll explore why it resonates so profoundly with the nation's youth, tapping into their aspirations, their frustrations, and what a complex tapestry of challenges and triumphs have marked its, well, often surprising journey. We're going to trace its early, almost clandestine history, delve into its electrifying battle culture that's captivated millions online, and dissect its powerful role as a voice for a generation grappling with a rapidly changing world, caught between ancient traditions and modern influences.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here, I think, is the trajectory. This genre, it was once, believe it or not, widely derided, called the music of drug addicts and weed smokers. Just completely dismissed as this foreign, maybe even subversive influence. Yet, against all odds, it hasn't just firmly established itself within the Nepali cultural landscape. It's now, punching way above its weight, influencing fashion, language, social discourse, everything. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's a profound testament to youth culture's inherent ability, that almost unstoppable ability to adapt, innovate, and even challenge deeply rooted traditions no matter where they are in the world. It's a powerful statement about how global phenomena aren't just, adopted wholesale. They are entirely recontextualized, imbued with local flavor, and made uniquely indigenous. This isn't just hip-hop in Nepal, it's Nephop.
That initial dismissal, it's really something, isn't it? To call it music of weed smokers, that just shows how entrenched those conservative perceptions can be, especially when something new, something seemingly disruptive arrives. Imagine the scene in the early 1990s. Hip-hop first starts trickling into Nepal, and it faces immense skepticism, often bordering on outright hostility. For decades, Nepal's entertainment scene had largely been overshadowed by its giant neighbor, India, right? Relying heavily on Hindi film music dominating the radio, music stores. Or it focused inward on its own incredibly rich traditional heritage, classical Nepali music, folk songs, devotional hymns. Hip-hop with its aggressive beats, foreign language, rebellious image. It was seen as completely alien, even threatening to this established order. It took almost 3 decades. From those initial, frankly, quite cheesy tracks and sleazy music videos, often just poorly produced copies of American stuff. For the genre to truly firmly establish its roots, it certainly wasn't an overnight sensation. It was a slow, grinding cultural uphill battle.
Indeed, yeah. The path to acceptance was long, and it was paved by some truly groundbreaking pioneers, people who dared to defy that skepticism.
Yeah.
Take Girish Katiwada, GP, as he's widely known. His first exposure wasn't through mainstream media in Nepal, no way. It was through a cousin whose parents worked in the Nepali embassy in Washington, D.C.
Wow, really? From D.C.?
Yeah. Imagine that cultural leap. This cousin would bring back mixtapes, music, exposing Girish to this raw new sound. In 1994, he released what's considered one of the earliest Nepalese hip-hop tracks. And ironically, it was titled Meaningless Rap.
Meaningless.
He said he initially called it that because, well, the English lyrics were full of slang and references he didn't fully grasp, so they just felt like meaningless rhymes to him at the time. His group, GP, that was Girish and Pranil, they'd ingeniously mimic American beats on a basic keyboard, often secretly, fearing the parents' disapproval of this unruly music. But what's crucial is that even then, in those early imitations, they started weaving in subtle traditional Nepali folk sounds. Experimenting with that fusion that would later define Nephop, they eventually managed to release their debut album back again in 2002, a significant milestone.
And what about Nirnaya Shrestha, or NSK? He's another undeniably pivotal figure, right? How did his journey fit into this?
Absolutely. NSK's contribution is immeasurable. And his discovery of hip-hop, it happened even earlier. Utah, 1988, while his father was doing a PhD.
Utah. That's unexpected.
Isn't it? He recounted how his friends in the U.S. started playfully calling him Nepali Hammer during MC Hammer's peak popularity. That really shows you the kind of direct, undeniable American influence on these early artists. When he returned to Nepal, he brought that swagger, that sound with him. NSK released For You All in 1998. He saw music not just as entertainment, but as a powerful vehicle, a way to express his views on life, on society, articulating sentiments that resonated with that, nascent youth demographic. He quickly became known not just for his music, but for his authentic hip-hop fashion. We're talking real New York Yankees hats, baggy jeans, basketball jerseys.
That must have stood out in Kathmandu then.
Oh, totally. A revelation at the time, starkly contrasting with traditional Nepali attire or more conservative Western wear. This wasn't just about the sound, it was the whole cultural package, the style, the attitude, the lyrical themes, laying the groundwork for a broader movement.
So by the early 2000s, it sounds like things really started picking up steam. Moving beyond just a handful of pioneers, we start seeing groups forming, hitting broader audiences.
That's precisely when the momentum shifted. Groups like Rapaz Union, that was Sami Samrat and Nirnaya Shrestha, they were right at the forefront. They created what's largely considered the first Nepalese rap album entirely in English, back in 2000.
All in English. Bold move.
Yeah, it was. Appealing to a specific, globally aware segment of the youth. Following that, GP's tracks like Mayesto Tu Matesto Chu, which notably featured DA69, and Timi Jaha Pani Janchao. They became early, undeniable hits. These songs weren't just popular with a niche audience, they genuinely started attracting broad audiences, getting airplay, generating buzz. They were catchy, relatable, offered something fresh.
And it wasn't just artists in Nepal pushing boundaries. It seems the diaspora, Nepalese living abroad, played a significant role too.
Indeed. Nurbi Sherpa's album representing KTMC Kathmandu Metropolitan City, released in 2003, was particularly notable. It was the first Nepalese hip-hop album actually recorded in the United States. That cross-border creation really showcased Nephop's global ambition. Then came the Unity in 2004, a kind of supergroup. Adre, DA69, Asif Shah, along with the veteran Girish Kariwada. They released Girish and the Unity Presents X. That album was a landmark. It had major local successes like She's the Bomb, became a real youth anthem, and importantly, the politically charged satire Malai Vote Do, which translates to Give Me Your Vote.
Political satire, huh? That early.
Yeah, that song was particularly impactful because it bravely critiqued the turbulent political landscape at the time, gave voice to widespread frustration, disillusionment among youth who felt neglected by their leaders. It was an early example of Nephop's willingness to engage with serious societal issues, using humor, sharp commentary to deliver a powerful message.
That's a fascinating progression. Moving from personal stuff to direct political satire. And then we had what's known as the remix era, which seems like it was a game changer for wider acceptance, bridging that gap between traditional and new.
It truly was a pivotal moment. During the remix era, which really picked up pace in the early 2000s, folk and pop artists started strategically incorporating rap verses into their own styles. A prime example, incredibly popular, was the 2003 hit Din Pani Bichyo, meaning the day also passed. It wasn't just a song, it was this beautiful, unexpected fusion of rap and traditional Nepali folk melodies.
So like blending the old and new sounds directly?
Yeah. Exactly. And this collaboration was absolutely crucial because it significantly increased the acceptance of rap music at the grassroots level, reaching audiences who might have otherwise just dismissed it and acted like a Trojan horse almost, introducing rap elements within a familiar, palatable framework. Traditionalists heard elements they recognized, loved, while younger audiences got their dose of the new, exciting sound. This fusion helped bridge that gap, showing that hip-hop could be authentically Nepali, not just an imitation. And this, raises an important question. How does a genre so rooted in one cultural context seamlessly translate and truly integrate into another? It's far more than just imitation. It's about finding those local, authentic elements, treating them not as additions, but as core components. As NSK famously put it, it's about seeing the madal and damfu, traditional Nepali hand drums, vital to folk music, not just as instruments, but as the DJ of Nephop.
DJ, that's a great image.
Yeah. Isn't it? It signifies an approach where the essence of Nepali rhythm, Nepali storytelling, becomes the foundational beat, allowing artists to tell their story, a unique Nepali story within that universal hip-hop framework. That blend is precisely what gave Nephop its unique flavor, helping it overcome initial resistance and embedding it deeply into the cultural fabric.
The story of Nephop then takes this, exponential leap with the internet. It democratized the scene, changed the game completely. Gone were the days of relying only on physical CDs, DVDs, expensive to produce, distribute, and hard to get out there right, especially in a country with limited infrastructure. The digital revolution became the new frontier, especially for underground artists, the ones who might never have had access to traditional studios, expensive gear, or established distribution channels. The internet, particularly YouTube, essentially handed them a microphone and a global stage.
Precisely. The underground movement really solidified between, say, 2003 and 2008, largely spearheaded by a visionary duo, Nas, based in New York City, and DJ AJ, based in Toronto. Together, they founded Nephop.org. This online portal was truly revolutionary. It wasn't just for artists in Nepal, it was for the entire Nepalese diaspora globally, connecting artists, listeners across continents.
So like a virtual community hub?
Exactly. It provided a dedicated platform to share music, collaborate across borders, connect directly with a burgeoning fan base. It circumvented the traditional gatekeepers of the music industry, allowed raw talent to just shine through.
So we saw artists like Nas gaining significant traction almost exclusively through this online presence. What kind of impact did that have?
It had a massive impact. His single Chudana in 2004, produced by DJ AJ, got widespread attention in that nascent online community. And then his track, Kari Kep, with its more explicit content, really gained notoriety in the underground circuit, pushing lyrical boundaries. The new urban music blog even recognized Killing Terraces as one of the best Nepalese political rap songs, which speaks volumes about the depth, the critical social commentary emerging from this raw underground scene. He even managed to get mainstream exposure when featured on Nirbu Sherpa's track Baby Girl, showcasing how online success could lead to broader recognition. This direct transition to online platforms fundamentally changed everything. YouTube, in particular, became the primary launchpad for new music. Artists could upload tracks, music videos directly to the world. Crucially, it also became a viable source of revenue. Through ad monetization, views, songs could now go truly viral with just one click.
Reaching audiences far beyond what traditional media could offer.
Way beyond. Radio, TV, physical sales couldn't compete. The numbers tell the story. Between 2000 and 2012, internet users in Nepal exploded, from just 50,000 to over 2.5 million. Now, while that's still a relatively small fraction of the total population, a significant chunk of these users were clustered in the Kathmandu Valley, which, as we discussed, is the heartland of Nephop. This surge in connectivity directly fueled the genre's growth, allowing artists to emerge, cultivate loyal fan bases on platforms like YouTube, SoundCloud, where listeners could interact, share, directly support their favorite artists.
And it wasn't just a distribution channel for music, was it? Social media has had a much broader, almost omnipresent impact on Nepali teenagers as a whole, radically transforming how they communicate, interact.
Absolutely. A compelling 2023 thesis really highlights this omnipresence of social media. Its revolutionary effect on how teenagers in Nepal communicate, learn, interact. It's not just a trend, it's fundamental, a deeply ingrained shift in their daily lives. Teenagers are now heavily reliant on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok for nearly everything. Daily communication, entertainment, accessing information. The majority spend significant time on these platforms, to the point where virtual interactions are often replacing traditional face-to-face encounters, creating new norms for social connection.
So which platforms are really dominating the scene for them right now?
Facebook still holds the top spot in terms of sheer user numbers, 11.85 million users in Nepal as of 2023. However, TikTok is rapidly gaining ground, especially among the youth, becoming a cultural phenomenon in itself.
Yeah, TikTok's huge everywhere.
It is. Its short-form, highly creative video content, its incredible ability to foster virality makes it incredibly addictive, popular. Instagram is also very popular, particularly among younger users, for its visual focus. Allowing them to curate their online identities through images, short videos, shows a clear shift towards more dynamic, visual, easily digestible content.
That certainly makes sense. What are the noticeable upsides and downsides for these Nepali teenagers immersed in this, deeply digital world?
On the positive side, social media enables unprecedented levels of self-expression. Young people, particularly those in more conservative environments, can find a voice, a platform to articulate thoughts, feelings, artistic inclinations. It strengthens peer connectivity, allows them to maintain relationships that might otherwise be geographically limited. It provides access to vast amounts of knowledge, educational resources. For instance, many Nepali teens learn about IT, graphic design, even English skills through dedicated Facebook communities, YouTube tutorials.
That's actually pretty powerful.
It is. It also fosters cross-border friendships, broadening their worldview, fostering a sense of global citizenship. Crucially, it promotes activism, allowing for rapid awareness raising for social causes, environmental protection, gender equality, disaster relief fundraising, encouraging vital civic engagement. Young voices get amplified, become powerful agents of change in a way previously unimaginable. However, There are significant negative impacts. You can't ignore them. Addiction is a major concern, often leading to decreased academic performance, reduced family time, negative impact on real-world social life. There are serious issues with cyberbullying, which can have devastating psychological consequences. Anxiety, depression, even self-harm.
Yeah, it's a dark side.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Feelings of inadequacy are also prevalent, stemming from constant exposure to idealized lifestyles, meticulously curated images online, leading to unfavorable social comparisons, that fear of missing out. Furthermore, parents often express deep fears about data leakage, privacy breaches, misuse of their children's profiles for malicious purposes.
It sounds like parents and educators have an absolutely vital role here, guiding this new generation.
They do, and their opinions are understandably quite mixed. Some parents recognize the benefits, the connectivity, knowledge access. Many others are deeply worried about addiction, online safety, exposure to inappropriate content. There is a clear, urgent need for guidance, support for them to navigate these complexities. Schools are increasingly encouraged to integrate digital literacy education, equipping students with critical thinking skills, use platforms responsibly, understand privacy, identify misinformation. From a broader governmental perspective, there's a clear need for robust laws against cyberbullying, hacking, identity theft to ensure a safer online environment. This shows us really that the internet isn't just a distribution channel for Nephop. It's a fundamental part of the entire social ecosystem, profoundly shaping how artists connect with audiences, how youth navigate their whole social world. This raises an important question, doesn't it? What's the long-term role of culture in this rapid digital shift? How do traditional values interact with these global, digitally driven trends? The very essence of Nepalese identity, its values, its future. They're being actively discussed, debated, shaped in these online spaces every single day.
Speaking of online spaces, that brings us perfectly to the electrifying world of rap battles, specifically the phenomenon known as raw bars. It's hard to imagine, like, the raw energy, the tension of a rap battle erupting in, say, a quiet restaurant garden in Kathmandu, but that's exactly where raw bars became central to Nephop's energy, its reputation. How did this unique battleground even come about?
Raw Barz was a brainchild brought to life in 2010 by the formidable rapper Yamabuddha, a true visionary in the Nephop scene. He drew direct inspiration from those vibrant North American battle leagues, specifically Toronto's King of the Dot, which epitomized lyrical combat. The core concept is deceptively straightforward. Two rappers prepare, deliver verses specifically designed to, well, playfully insult each other.
Playfully, and sometimes it sounds pretty intense.
Oh, it gets intense. But as you mentioned, the setting itself was uniquely Nepali. These battles would often be set up in unusual, accessible places. Restaurant gardens, school courtyards, public parks, drawing in curious onlookers who might not even be hip-hop fans, just drawn by the spectacle. Crucially, combatants are expected to be bilingual, proficient in both Nepali and English, which adds another intricate layer of complexity, wit, cultural nuance to their disses. They might weave in English slang with traditional Nepali proverbs, creating this truly unique linguistic tapestry of insults.
And what are the actual rules of engagement in these lyrical duels? What's considered fair game for these verbal assaults?
The weapons are purely verbal. Insults, sharp disses, clever jibes. They must rhyme, adhere to a loose meter. Though flexibility is often allowed for truly devastating punchlines, targets can be incredibly broad, personal, ranging from family, ancestry, to a competitor's dress sense, their intelligence, their perceived lack of authenticity, and most importantly, their very claim to being a talented, battling poet. The crowd, interestingly, is the ultimate judge, a silent but powerful jury.
Silent.
How so?
Clumsy rhymes, a fumbled line, a lack of charisma, stage presence, met with almost unbearable silence, a stark, brutal rejection in the arena. A powerful comeback, though. A perfectly landed, witty diss that erupts in cheers, applause, validating the victor's lyrical prowess.
I can imagine that silence would be absolutely deafening. This kind of intensely confrontational style, especially with such personal insults, it must have inevitably led to some controversy, right?
It absolutely did. Raw bars initially faced considerable criticism from observers, particularly more conservative elements, describing it as cheap and vulgar jokes, overtly racist lines touching on sensitive ethnic issues, and outright intense insults crossing perceived lines of decency. Colin Rana, one of the co-founders, even admitted that while they actively discouraged harsh Nepali swear words, they somewhat tolerated English profanity, noting in English they can say something.
That's an interesting distinction. It highlights a curious double standard, maybe. or perhaps a cultural negotiation, where the foreign language provided a sort of veneer of distance, making the insults slightly more palatable or at least less directly offensive to traditional sensibilities. Despite the intense, sometimes vicious nature of the attacks, participants often publicly claim it's just a game, insisting everything is genial after the battle's over. The truth of the disses, they maintain, is largely irrelevant. What truly counts is the cleverness of the wordplay, the wit, the delivery. However, it's worth noting this just a game mentality has its limits. The very nature of intensely personal insults, even if performative, can sometimes spill over. While maybe not the fatal consequences seen in the U.S. Biggie versus Tupac rivalry, there's an acknowledgement that these battles can sometimes result in confrontations outside the ring, hinting at that thin line between performance and genuine animosity. A telling Reddit user even described the Nephop scene as among the most toxic hip-hop scene right now in South Asia, with many rappers seemingly more interested in flexing, showing off wealth, status, than truly advancing the art form.
So bravado over substance
Well,
sometimes.
it's a criticism, yeah. Echoed by others who found many songs, or hollow, lacking substance or genuine lyrical depth, prioritizing that flexing over meaningful content.
That's a fascinating contradiction. Intense insults, supposedly just a game, yet potentially spilling over. It also sounds like the origins of Nephop battles differ significantly from American hip-hop's roots. Those emerged from very specific socioeconomic conditions.
They absolutely do. Unlike American hip-hop, largely from disenfranchised urban communities, giving voice to systemic injustices, poverty, Nephop battles, particularly raw bars, became this serious and full-time passion of a group of relatively privileged yet still disenchanted school and college students.
Privileged but disenchanted. How does that work?
It's a crucial distinction. While they might not face the same economic hardships as early American rappers, their disenchantment often stems from political instability, corruption, a feeling of stagnation within the system. Despite their access to education, resources, education levels, surprisingly, can even be used as a diss in battles, like when Unique Poet questioned Lore's college degree. Yet, despite the verbal aggression, the battles are conducted with a surprising degree of underlying respect, even decorum. Protagonists are typically given ample time to compose replies, rarely jeered for faltering, which contrasts sharply with some cutthroat Western battles. The emphasis is consistently on witty, intelligent insults, intricate rhymes, clever retorts over, brute vulgarity.
Let's talk about some of those key battles that truly put raw bars on the map, the legendary ones in the Nephop community.
Okay, one of the most iconic, a real turning point, was between Unique Poet Utsaha Joshi and Laura Assisas Rana. This battle wasn't just a contest, it was a cultural event. Gained over 1 million YouTube hits quickly, propelled both artists to the very top of the Nephop scene. Unique Poet, in his highly effective diss, famously mocked Laura's English skills. A sensitive point for many in Nepal, given English's role in higher education, global opportunity. He also cleverly played on Lore's stage name, Lore, which locally implies someone who failed to join the Gurkha regiments, a path to prestige, income for many Nepali men.
Wow, that's a deep cut culturally.
Exactly. Unique Poet quipped, "You're old enough to be married, at least try to speak like you got a college degree," and referenced needing to pass English exams for the Gurkhas. Lore's response was legendary. He famously retorted by proving his mastery, rapping in impeccable English and concluding with a mic drop moment. And if you think Lore cannot rap in English, I'm a graduate student, nominated to the Dean's List. Next time you try to create all the hate and debate, I'ma slap you in the face with my bachelor's certificate.
Whoa, he actually brought the certificate.
Well, maybe not literally, but that line landed. The crowd, live and online, went absolutely wild. That moment encapsulated the wit, the personal stakes, the surprising depth of these battles.
Wow, that's incredibly intense. Shows real mastery of wordplay, cultural context. And there was another one involving Balin Shah, who's now quite a prominent public figure beyond just rap, isn't he?
Yes, exactly. Another incredibly memorable battle was between Balin Shah and Little Grizzle Nishesh Maharjan. This battle notably delved into deeper historical, ethnic tensions, something rarely seen in such a public, performative arena. Little Grizzle, who is ethnically Newer, the indigenous inhabitants of the Kathmandu Valley, referenced the historical overthrow of the Newer kings by Balin Shah family back in 1769. A pivotal moment in Nepali history.
Bringing up ancient history in a rap battle.
He did. He rhymed. The Newers used to rule Kathmandu, then along came the Shah. After 10 or 11 generations of their pomp, they met their end in Nagarjun, referring to the last king's residence in exile. Balin, quick on his feet, rebutted by mocking newer pronunciation of the aspirated thaw sound, a subtle but recognizable linguistic difference, and boldly asserting Shaw rule was far from over. He clarified afterwards it was just history, not intended to be racial, but the underlying historical tension was palpable. Resonated deeply with the audience. It's a complex dynamic, highlights how these battles can become a stage for re-examining historical narratives, cultural identities. And what's fascinating now is the anticipation around an upcoming battle between Lore and Balin. Despite past sparring, they're actually best buddies in the Nephop scene.
Really, best buddies battling.
Yeah, which just adds to the intrigue. Much speculation buzzing online about how this friendly rivalry will play out.
So beyond the sheer entertainment value, the personal glory,
Yeah.
what tangible impact has Barz had on these artists' careers? Did it open doors?
Undeniably. It served as a great platform for emerging artists, a powerful launchpad into the broader music scene. Winning, or even just participating in these high-profile battles, provided incredible exposure. It significantly boosted views for their personal songs on YouTube, helped secure lucrative gigs, performances. Rappers like Eunuch Poet, Little Grizzle saw substantial, sometimes exponential, increases in song views after their battles. Their names became household topics. Many artists, like Sakar Dikari, Balin Shah, had very few views on their individual songs before Barz, then experienced an explosion in popularity afterwards. Dedicated fans even created covers of their tracks.
So basically free, high-impact marketing.
Exactly. An invaluable platform propelling them from obscurity to prominence. And this is where it gets really interesting, I think, connecting performance to deeper societal currents. The casual way caste, ethnicity, are used as ammunition in battles, but then so quickly dismissed as just a game, no hate immediately after. It highlights a complex process of cultural examination, even challenge within Nepali youth. It's a fascinating reflection of a society grappling with its past, its deep-seated divisions, its rapidly evolving present, using a global art form like hip-hop to mediate these internal dialogues. Publicly, performatively, and often very raw. Raises questions, how much is truly playful versus how much is a subtle yet potent airing of grievances, or a subconscious questioning of traditional hierarchies.
It's clear the battle arena is one incredibly vibrant aspect of Nephop. But let's shift now from the verbal sparring to the broader messages, the artistic expressions within the genre. How have lyrical themes evolved over time, moving beyond perhaps just early, simpler narratives?
Initially, yeah, a lot of early Nephop tracks were, as you might expect, relatively simple love songs. Romance, heartbreak, youthful infatuation, global trend, right? But as the genre matured, particularly with artists compelled to speak to the realities around them, there was a noticeable profound shift towards deeper engagement with socio-political issues. This reflected increasing anxieties, frustrations, aspirations of Nepali youth grappling with a changing political social landscape. This evolution in lyrical content is a true hallmark of Nephop's journey, showing its capacity to grow beyond mere entertainment into a vehicle for social commentary.
And one of the most prominent pioneers in this lyrical evolution, the one who really paved the way for this deeper engagement, was Yama Buddha, wasn't he?
Yes, Yama Buddha. Truly seen as a colossal figure, a pioneer who popularized the genre with his hard-hitting songs and realistic representations of urban life. His music really resonated because it spoke directly to the lived experiences of young Nepalese, articulating their unspoken grievances. For example, his powerful track, Grabya Kukuri, the kukuri being that traditional Nepali knife, often a symbol of pride, strength directly addressed rampant government corruption. He delivered scorching lines like, "Leave every crooked motherfucker in the government squad. I can't change things alone. It needs a lot of us."
Wow, pulling no punches there.
Not at all. He wasn't just complaining. He was articulating widespread frustration with the political system, calling for collective action. Another incredibly poignant song, Sathi, meaning friend, highlighted harsh realities, poverty, pervasive drug addiction, complexities of friendship among young Nepalese, painting a raw, relatable, sometimes heartbreaking picture of urban struggle, camaraderie. His words became anthems for a generation feeling unheard.
It sounds like Nephop quickly became an indispensable vehicle for powerful social commentary, daring to speak truth to power.
Precisely. Prakash Nupine, for instance, contributed significantly with his impactful track Arach Kaknidi, a political rap song sharply critiquing the government. For unpunished culprits, deaf politicians, he sings, "I am sick due to the smell of this politics by the stench of Bagmati River." And the politicians are deaf about these issues.
The Bagmati River, that's the one flowing through Kathmandu, right? Heavily polluted.
Exactly, a sacred but heavily polluted river. A potent metaphor for pervasive corruption tainting even sacred elements of the nation. Then you have Mahesh Dong, an exciting newcomer, cemented his status with hits like Rapsun Tero Bao and Malay Chayo, meaning I want. His song Malay Chayo explores a different yet equally relevant facet of modern urban Nepali youth's aspirations, focusing on money, material wealth, success. Lyrics like diamond-fitted gold necklace, everything imported, I want gold, reflects desires of a generation in a consumerist world, yearning for prosperity, global standards of success, showcasing a blend of traditional values and new globalized ambitions.
So clearly not all hard-hitting social commentary and political angst. There's also room for lighter, more aspirational tracks or even club anthems, reflecting the diverse experiences of youth.
Exactly. Sarav Dhawan, known as Zero, gained popularity with Timi Pani Nachana, meaning you also dance, which is just a feel-good clubbing song. It's about going out, losing inhibitions, dancing, exchanging numbers, sharing sorrows, showcasing a more celebratory, everyday side of youth culture, proving Nephop is broad enough to encompass both deep social critique and pure, unadulterated enjoyment. This diversity in themes, personal, political, celebratory, truly reflects the multifaceted experiences, aspirations of Nepalese youth.
What's consistently fascinating is how this genre, despite its undeniable Western roots, has managed to blend local and global elements so uniquely, creating something that is undeniably Nepali.
What's truly unique is the masterful fusion. Early Nephop, like we discussed with GP, was already instinctively mixing traditional Nepali folk sounds with Western hip-hop beats, creating a nascent local flavor. Nepsida's Maya O Maya, meaning love O love, is another fantastic example of this organic integration. They use back-and-forth vocals strikingly reminiscent of traditional Dahori folk songs.
Dahori, what's that exactly?
It's a unique Nepali folk tradition, involving two teams, usually male and female, engaging in a lyrical battle of wits through improvised songs. One side asks a question, the other replies in verse. The way Nepsidas mirrored this call and response in their rap, infused with modern beats, was a natural evolution, integrating what's doubly familiar with what's new, exciting. Even Girish in the Unity song Money showcased this clever cultural commentary. They sampled lines from the revered Nepali poet Laxmi Prasad Devkota's 1935 epic Muna Madan, a classic text. Every Nepali knows it. They took a profound line. Bags of gold are like the dirt on your hands. Better to eat nettles and greens with happiness in your heart. Emphasizing fleeting wealth, importance of contentment, and they twisted it brilliantly to satirize modern greed with, no matter how much, it's never enough for me.
Oh, that's clever.
Isn't it? Shows deliberate, clever, respectful engagement with their own rich cultural heritage to make a pointed comment on contemporary social issues. Illustrates Nephop's intelligence, its deeply rooted connection to its homeland.
And there seems to be this strong, almost palpable aspiration within Nephop for not just local success, but to gain international recognition, truly become a source of national pride.
Yes, there's a powerful, almost patriotic driving desire for Nephop to become a source of national pride and identity. Artists aren't just seen as performers. They're increasingly viewed as regular people, using music as a service to the nation, both to inspire youth domestically and represent Nepal globally. They want their unique voice, their stories, their cultural blend heard internationally, challenging preconceived notions about Nepal. This raises an important question, though. While copying influences is natural in artistic evolution, how critical is it for Nephop to develop a truly distinctive, unmistakable Nepali sound? Perhaps through deeper integration of folk instruments, unique lyrical structures, distinct storytelling traditions, to achieve that sustained global recognition.
Right. Is adapting Western forms enough?
Yeah.
Or does it need to innovate beyond influences to be globally unique, identifiably Nepali?
Exactly. That's a key challenge and opportunity for its future.
That's a crucial question for its artistic future. But before we look too far ahead, let's address the economic realities, the systemic hurdles facing Nephop artists today. It sounds like passion, artistic merit alone aren't nearly enough to make a viable living for most.
Unfortunately, that's the harsh, undeniable reality for the vast majority. They cannot yet earn a living from their music alone. It's a passion project first, livelihood second for many. Live performances remain by far the primary income source. Concerts, club appearances, private gigs makes income precarious, highly dependent on bookings, crowd turnout, CD sales, plummeted to almost nothing, mirrors global trends, and maybe more critically, internet piracy is rampant in Nepal.
Because of weak copyright laws.
Yeah, due to a pervasive lack of copyright laws and lax enforcement. Artists upload music, it's instantly shared, downloaded without compensation. As one artist candidly put it, in Nepal it's too difficult. You don't make money at all. You have to be Yama Buddha to make money. Highlighting how only a handful of superstars manage to break even or thrive. This intense economic pressure means many artists, despite burning musical ambitions, anticipate having to work regular day jobs. Often outside music, due to family obligations, the sheer need to pay bills, their art becomes a demanding side hustle.
So what's the actual market size for Nephop? If it's so hard to make a living, is the industry itself just very small?
It is currently quite modest. The entire Nepali entertainment industry market, specifically for hip-hop, generates, well, around US $50,000 per month.
50,000 for the whole scene.
Per month, yeah. Primarily based solely on concert tickets, online platform monetization like YouTube. When you consider the overall entertainment industry in Nepal, that's a tiny fraction. Highlights the nascent stage of the commercial ecosystem around Nephop. Despite the genre's explosive online popularity, cultural influence, monetizing that attention, engagement remains a significant, persistent challenge.
And despite the impressive growth in internet access we talked about earlier, is the digital divide still a significant factor, perhaps limiting who can produce Nephop?
Yes, it absolutely is. While internet access has increased significantly, the figures we cited, 2.5 million users in 2012, even 11.85 million Facebook users in 2023, still highlight a substantial digital divide. This gap is particularly pronounced between urban centers like Kathmandu and more remote rural areas, directly impacting access to social media, online learning for aspiring artists, and by extension, widespread consumption or production of Nephop. Many potential listeners, artists in rural areas, simply don't have consistent, affordable internet access, limiting the genre's reach, its ability to foster talent nationwide.
It also brings up the enduring concern about cultural adaptation versus potential cultural assimilation. Is there a worry that embracing a global genre like hip-hop could dilute, even erode, traditional Nepali values, identity?
That's a very real, widely discussed concern. Within academic circles, among cultural observers, academic discussions often point to cultural assimilation and the possible deterioration of traditional values due to the widespread influence of Western-centric content on social media. It's a delicate balance, isn't it? How do you embrace global trends like hip-hop culture without losing the essence of your own unique cultural identity? This fear arises from the rapid influx of foreign media ideas. However, it's also worth noting Nephop isn't just music anymore. It's part of a broader encompassing hip-hop culture. Various art forms, we've seen the concurrent rise of other elements, dynamic breakdancing, energetic crews like Everest Crew, Astro Boys, Cartoons Crew, participating in competitions embodying that physical artistry. There's also the emergence of vibrant graffiti art, initiatives like Color Kathmandu using street art to tell local stories, beautify urban spaces.
What about DJing?
Yeah. DJing, while present, is still developing as a lucrative, prominent element, perhaps due to the technological investment required. Still growing.
So, despite these significant challenges, economic hurdles, digital divide, cultural balancing act, what's the overall outlook for Nephop? Is there a sense of optimism for its future? Or is it a struggle for survival?
There is a strong, palpable sense of optimism within the community. Artists, pioneers feel that it's been a slow ride, but we were ahead of time. I think this year rap came a long way and it's looking forward. There's a belief the genre has finally found its stride, is ready for bigger things. While Nephop might not be filling massive stadiums like international rock stars, the Bryan Adams' 2011 concert was huge. The scene is definitely becoming stronger, building big plans to expand in South Asia, around the world, aiming for regional, eventually global recognition. There's recognition of its untapped potential as a marketing tool. But as one pioneer noted, there is still a gap between those who listen to hip-hop and those who control the media, the corporations who can afford to put money into music.
So bridging that gap with industry and corporate support is key.
Exactly. Indicates a need for better industry infrastructure, corporate investment to fully unlock Nephop's commercial potential. The incessant lyrical battles we discuss, universally seen as a key driver of its strength, exposure, constantly pushing artists to refine their craft, generating buzz. Ultimately, Nephop's emergence is viewed as a significant sign that the long-standing dominance of Bollywood music, which permeated Nepali culture for decades, can indeed be challenged, defied. It signifies that young people in Nepal are becoming increasingly comfortable examining, even critically engaging with, traditional norms, using art to express their unique identity, push societal boundaries. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the entire journey of Nephop illustrates how a global art form can be localized, fiercely debated, fundamentally transformed, even challenging entrenched societal norms in unexpected, powerful ways, all while navigating rapid technological cultural shifts. This raises an important question for you to consider. Can art, even seemingly playful battle rap, truly spark tangible social change by shifting perceptions, encouraging critical thought, or does it merely reflect the changes already bubbling beneath the surface of society?
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, as you reflect on this journey? From its initial rejection as music of drug addicts to becoming this powerful, multifaceted voice for a generation, Nephop has carved out a distinct, incredibly complex, and undeniably vibrant space within Nepal's cultural landscape. It's a compelling testament to the power of adaptation, the relentless spirit of innovation, and the sheer, unyielding power of young people to find their voice through art, even when they're battling each other with explosive wit and intricate rhymes in a restaurant garden. It's a truly homegrown phenomenon with ambitious global aspirations, constantly redefining what it means to be Nepali in a connected world.
Yeah, and this fascinating journey of Nephop, with its intricate fusion of tradition and modernity, its high-stakes online battles, its candid, often biting social commentary, it poses a compelling thought for you to mull over. In a world of increasing information overload, where cultural influences constantly blend, clash, reshape each other at an unprecedented pace, how might dynamic art forms like hip-hop continue to serve as unique, unfiltered barometers of societal aspirations, anxieties, and the ever-evolving identity of a nation? Consider how the beats and rhymes of today might be telling the truest stories of tomorrow's cultural shifts.